definitely non-aggressive, but can be defensive, right? I repeat, defensive, not aggressive, right? So if you don't hurt a honeybee, they're not going to release that pheromone saying, hey, we need to protect and take care of our hive, right? So they recognize different essential beekeeping. The behavior is essential for beekeeping to work safely around the hive, or just working in a vegetable garden that has bees in that yard, right? Or that farm. This session will cover basic honeybee roles of caste, their temperament, communication, and tips for minimizing stings, right? How to react when a bee lands on you, right? Stay calm, stay confident. Don't swat at the bee, right? If you swat at the bee, it's going to release a pheromone that's going to say, defend the hive, right? Then they'll get more defensive. Just wait for the bee to fly off. I mentioned caste, honeybee caste. Honeybee caste are, when considering the different types of bees inside of the hive. You have the queen bee, you have the worker bee, and you have the drone bee. The drone bee is considered to be a male bee. The queen and the workers are all females, right? So the queen's sole role in the hive is to lay an egg in each one of those honeycomb cells, right? If she's not laying an egg in each one of those honeycomb cells, the colony recognizes that and they say, hey, you're not doing your job. The next egg that you lay, we're going to take that egg and we're going to use that egg to replace you, right? So the colony runs the hive, not the queen runs the hive, right? So worker bees are that colony that I speak of. That's the majority of the bees inside of that hive. The drone bees, their main focus is to mate with the queen. They fly real high up in drone congregation areas and mate with the queen, and then they once they attach to the queen, they fall to the ground, and then once they walk apart, that leaves the male reproductive organs of the male inside of the female, right? Which kills the male, so he mates to death, right? And then if you look at the anatomy of the honeybees, right? So if you look at the male, he has those long wings, right? Because he has to fly real high in the air for that drone congregation area to spot the queen. He also has those larger eyes, or oculars, or faucets, as they're called. And he has the rounded abdomen, right? When considering the head, thorax, and abdomen, right? The queen has a elongated abdomen. Once that male bee injects his semen inside of that queen bee, she has an organ inside of her abdomen which makes her longer, called the spermatheca, right? This organ collects all of the sperm from different male bees before she actually flies back to the hive when she goes on her mating flight, right? So she hatches out of the cell as a young bee, goes out in the world in that drone congregation area, mates with multiple bees, and then she finds her way back to the hive, and then she spends the rest of her time laying eggs consistently in that hive, right? And everybody has seen that normal worker bee on the flowers and things that you normally see, right? So understanding the temperament and the mood, bees are calm most of the time. As long as you have slow, focused movements, there's a low risk of sting, right? So you're moving in a feng shui type way, right? You're not harming bees. When you see defensive bees, you'll hear big they get real agitated, right? They may death dive, is what I call it. You know, they will run into you. They will bump into you. So that's they'll react when threatened during certain weather conditions. If a storm is coming, they will react. They will be more defensive because they're like, "Why are you messing with me? We preparing for the storm, as you should." And they can be provoked by different scents. So some people come into the bee yard with their fresh hair done. They have the honey products all in their hair, skin glowing with the honey mask that they made, right? Those bees may be more attracted to that person because of those scents and pheromones. So factors influence defensive behavior, threats to the hive, quick movements, like I said, loud sounds, vibration, weather, scents, hive conditions, right? Lack of resources in the hive will make them more defensive, right? So pests, if they're going through any type of issues in the hive, that's going to make them more defensive, right? Pheromones, communication in bees, right? So bees release pheromones when they're defensive, when they feel agitated, when they're looking for the queen. The queen produces a mandibular pheromone, which makes all of the bees comfortable with her mandibular pheromone, which keeps the bees around her, right? So they really go off of multiple pheromones, but one that I would like to get you to realize and focus on is it's a pheromone that is released when a bee dies, right? When that bee is squished, you move that frame and you drop it on a bee and you squish that bee without moving that bee out of the way before you put that frame down. That bee is going to release a pheromone. That pheromone smells like bananas, right? It actually smells like bananas. Have you ever got stung by a honeybee and it kind of smelled funny, right? That's that banana smell that I'm speaking of. So this banana smell, so I'm mentioning this banana smell for multiple reasons because that's what makes the hive defensive. Also, right, I would not recommend a person going to the hive after they have consumed a fresh banana, right? Because if you go to the hive smelling like dead and dying bees, they're going to think you're a threat and they're going to be death diving at your mouth, right? I had an event at a farm and a lady, soon as she came to the, soon as she came over there to sit down, one bee was just hovering around her. And it was just like, and I asked her, what did you eat this morning? And she said, I had a banana in the car. You know what I'm saying? So that, don't consume bananas when you're going into the hive, right? Some of the do's of working safely with honeybees, you do wear protective gear, right? This protective gear consists of, it can consist of something like a jacket, right? This is a typical cloth jacket that you will use. This jacket comes in many forms. I also have this children's jacket, right, or suit, right, which is, it's a full body suit. Your feet and your hands are exposed. So you can, there are also gloves you will need to wear. Different types of gloves. You have all leather, goat skin gloves, and you have ventilated gloves, right? It gets pretty hot inside of this cloth in the heat of the summer, right? So you want to put on something, or you may want to consider with your comfortability by getting something that's a little more breathable, like this ventilated jacket that I normally use when I'm doing more extensive things in the hive. But if I'm just doing regular maintenance or a quick hive inspection, I'll just put on this veil, right? And it just goes over your head and goes under your arms, right? Over your head, under your arms, like so, right? So that's just the veil. So that's your protective gear. Slowly and calmly, don't move fast, no jerking movement. Smoker, right? Why do you smoke bees? Anybody know? Anybody know why you smoke bees? Right? So you are reducing that pheromone that's traveling along in the hive. When you smoke the bees, they think that the hive is on fire. So they will consume the honey that they have, thinking that they have to consume as much as we need to take it to the next location before our hive burns down, right? But you're inside that hive and you're out of that hive within 15 minutes where they won't, you won't threaten a swarm, you won't, elicit a swarm, right? So a smoker, it diffuses the pheromones in the hive. So work during optimal times, right? Working sunny days, things like that. Never approach the hive from the front of the hive. Bees have a flight path, right? When they're coming in and out of that front of that hive, if you get hit by one of those bees in their natural flight path, you're going to spark that defensive mechanism, right? So don't stand in front of the hive. Approach the hive from the side or from the back. That's the correct approaches of the hive. So seal all exposed skin unless you're comfortable. You may see me with just a veil on and no gloves. I know the bees. I know they're not as defensive as most bees. So just stay calm if a bee lands on you, right? The don'ts, right? Don't swat at bees. Don't wear strong scents. Don't go in bad weather, right? Don't block the hive entrance, like I said. Don't leave sugar or honey exposed, right? Because they will go directly to that. Don't stand in the flight path, right? Stinger, right? The stinger consists of a barbed stinger that has barbs on it. So when it go in you and that bee walks away, let's just play the quick video if it works. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, I'm not connected to Wi-Fi. Okay, well, let's just go back for the sake of time. That's a video showing what happens when a person gets stung. Gets stung, right? The bee dies when it walks away because that barbed stinger is connected to their gastrointestinal tract, right? So when that bee stings you, a bee doesn't want to sting you because it doesn't want to die, right? So that's the last resort for honeybees is to sting you. So how to avoid stings? So stay calm, use smoke wisely, minimize hive disturbances, stay calm under pressure. If you get flustered around a beehive, don't start hyperventilating because they're attracted to that CO2 that comes out of your mouth, right? So calmly just dissociate yourself and walk away from the hive, right? So soon as you get stung, if you get stung, when you get stung, you will get stung if you're a beekeeper. So you will take a credit card or something and wipe that stinger out, because once that stinger, that barbed stinger is injected into your arm, it is connected to the venom sac. It continues to pulsate after it is inside of your arm. If you take a credit card or some type of card or even your hand and just wipe that area, it will get that stinger out to decrease the amount of venom that's injected inside of your arm. And note that, note the size of the aspects of inflammation, right? Heat, swelling, redness, pain, and loss of function, right? So those are the key components of inflammation. So once you start seeing those, you monitor that area to make sure that it's just a local area and not a systemic area. When I say local, I mean, is the arm swelling up where you got stung? Or did you get stung in your arm and your eyes swelling up or your face swelling up? That's more of an anaphylactic type reaction, okay? So, you can have local, self-limiting stings or true anaphylactic reaction, like I was just talking about, like if your eyes and your throat, or, that will happen within a 30-minute type phase of getting after you get stung. So always have a buddy with you when beekeeping if you're beekeeping for the first time. You never know how you're going to react to that sting. Treatment of anaphylaxis, call 911 immediately. If you have it around, a lot of beekeepers will contact their their healthcare provider. They'll ask their healthcare provider, just for safety reasons, may I get a prescription for a EpiPen, right? And that's just for anything that may happen that is not really you didn't prepare for. So I can talk about all that, but we'll keep going. So preventing multiple stings. So like I said, calmly, after you get stung, calmly walk away, right? Once you're stung, bees, once they smell that banana pheromone, once they smell that venom sac pumping in you, other bees are attracted to that area and they will sting you. So after you take that credit card and wipe that stinger out, you'll take your smoker, right, and smoke the area where you got stung if you still have stuff to do in the hive. If you don't, if you're just doing a presentation or something, you can escort that person away who got stung, tend to them. But if you have more to do, decrease that pheromone by using smoke. And just be prepared for emergencies, right? Key takeaways are respect honeybee behavior to reduce stings, right? So if you know how bees act, you'll know how not to get stung. Recognize and react appropriately to the bee cues and pheromone signals. Use protective gear, work calmly, and maintain safe environment. Take immediate action if you're stung. A lot of people say if you put lemon juice on a fresh bee sting, it will decrease the amount of cortisol. It will block that cortisol reaction, and it will decrease that amount of swelling that you'll have. So as soon as you get, I keep some in my beekeeping bag. When I go out to the hive, I keep a bottle of lemon juice, and if I get stung, I just douse it with lemon juice. I swipe that stinger out, douse it with lemon juice, smoke it, and keep on moving. And then my arm is not even gonna swell up like if I did not do anything because I used that lemon juice. Any questions and answers? Any questions? I got the answers. Any questions? No? QR code once again. I'm sorry if I took too long. I tried to speed it up as fast as I could.